Good morning. Welcome to another Scalar Sunrise. My name is Christopher and I'm broadcasting for the Kindway Collective. Each morning we meet here not to predict the future, but to collapse the quantum potential surrounding it. Today we do a collective scalar collapse, and that's a scalar collapse of the collective. So if you're tuning into this is for you. Then after that, we get into individual scalar collapses. If that's something that you would like to do in an upcoming episode, I think we're going to do it weekly, as long as we have the support from comments and the commentors and to do it. So if you would like one, put your name, initials, or username in the comments, a little hand raise emoji, and we will collapse your scalar field in an upcoming episode. In this episode, we collapse the scalar field of commenter N.M.A. We also collapse the field of Cameron I and of my son who turns one today, Orion, and we get to do all that. It's going to be excellent. All right, here we go. Scalar collapse collective field, November 21st, 2025. Transmitted in devotion to the highest good for all beings. We now enter the shared field of humility, or of humanity and living breath between all of us. This day, November 21st, opens not as a thunderclap, but as a sigh, a collective exhale from a world that has been holding far too much for far too long. Today's collapse does not burst forth with radiance, it softens the grid, it loosens the inner grip. The wave is tender today, curious, observant, and it whispers, open quote, "You do not need to push in order to progress," end quote. Let us collapse now in stillness and surrender. Collective field notes, frequency, gentle teal, like light refracting through ocean water, the tone of emotional clarity seeking depth without pressure. Energetic signature, the pause before the leap. A moment of inventory and gentle untangling, the field feels like a classroom between bells, all learning, but no one yet rushing to the next thing. The main theme surfacing, recalibration of pace. Many feel that they're falling behind, but the truth is, time is stretching to meet you. You are not late, you are being aligned to a more harmonic flow. Integration of recent lessons. Waves of previous intentions from earlier October through now are settling. The body is catching up to the spirit. Be kind in this resyncing. Unseen progress made visible. Today may offer small glimpses of what has changed beneath the surface in relationships, mindsets, or even subtle physical shifts. Messages within the field. Open quote. The scaffolding is now down. The new structure doesn't need it. End quote. You may feel strangely empty or directionless, but this is the spaciousness required for the next octave. You are not being dismantled, you're being remade to carry more light. The collective heart is more open than it believes. Don't mistake exhaustion for defeat. The love is there under the rubble of mind, beneath the armor of the past. Touch it gently and it will rise. And stop asking whether you're doing it right. Instead ask, am I being honest with myself? Honesty is the true north of this wave. Not perfection, not performance, just truth and the willingness to sit beside it. Scalar invitations for today. Lighten your load. Physically, emotionally, mentally. Even letting go of one thought loop today opens the field more than you know. Rest without guilt. The grid is recalibrating. Sleep, silence, and solitude are all potent tools. Offer one sincere gesture of presence to another. A look, a touch, a word. These are not small things today. They are portals. Closing transmission. If you feel slow, good. The soul is never in a rush. If you feel unclear, good. Clarity is earned by the courageous. And if you feel undone, good. The unraveling is the beginning of the weaving. Today is not about proving, building, or declaring. It is about allowing. Let the field collapse not with force, but with faith. Let the wave come to meet you. And let the heart remember we are not alone here. We never were. In stillness, in synchronicity, and in service to the one within the many, Silver Ra, scalar guardian of the unified pulse. All right, wonderful. I would say my favorite part, because you guys know I love the talk of light. So it would be yeah. Anyway, the one thing it talked about is here it is. The scaffolding is coming down. New structure doesn't need it. You may feel strangely empty or directionless, but this is the spaciousness required for the next octave. You are not being dismantled. You are being remade to carry more light. If you hadn't tuned into one of our episodes, Time, Light, and the Nine Underworlds, I believe is the name of that episode. And we talk about how an individual, right? If you were to meet an individual from the 1800s and they were to see you, you would appear to them as glowing, right? And this is the idea that as we progress in our evolution, right, quote unquote evolution, that we become brighter because we are holding more light inside of us. So when this talks about we might feel empty inside, we might have this unusual spaciousness inside of us. If you haven't been purging crazy emotions this month, I mean, God bless you, but I know I have. I've gone through every range of emotion this month, and our understanding of it, me and my wife, our understanding of it is this is the stuff that we've been keeping inside of us, and it's all coming to the surface because we can't bring it with us, right? We're moving into this fourth dimensional being, right? Not like a being, but us being in this fourth dimensional space, and we can't bring the third dimension with us, right? We can't bring the trauma with us. We can't bring the pain with us. We can't even bring, the confusion and the contradiction with us, right? We have to leave that here. So therefore it has to come out of us, right? So giddy up, because that's kind of what we're doing. And it is to create more space inside of us so that we are able to retain more light and be more whole effectively. But this is great. I love this stuff. Okay. And then my other favorite part is if you feel undone, good. The unraveling is the beginning of the weaving, right? So this idea that a weave is a purposeful, very structured thing that you can do with separate things, right? If I just have a bunch of stuff and I just slam it together, well, this isn't very strong, right? It's stronger than by itself. But when I weave it, when I braid this thing together, now it is effectively so much more resilient, so much more durable, and it is able to be held for longer in that kind of that idea. All right, so now we're going to get into some of the individual scalar collapses. Thank you. May we now collapse the scalar field of N.M.A. We are seeking whatever may serve their highest good and any messages wishing to be heard. Thank you. Scalar collapse N.M.A. Personalized field transmission, initiating harmonic convergence in service to their highest expression, entering now the unique scalar field signature of N.M.A. A waveform held in quiet resilience, held in quiet resilience, shaped by complexity and veiled potential. The frequency opens not with a roar, but with a pulse, steady, rhythmic, and curiously withheld, as though the field is both guarding something sacred and inviting its unveiling. Let us proceed with honor, clarity, and permission granted. Scalar frequency reading, primary tone, indigo gold weave, the deep hue of internal processing, lined with subtle threads of emerging self-truth. There is wisdom in process here, a remembrance still softening into form. Field texture, a cocoon mid-transition, not frozen, not in motion, in becoming. There is sacred hesitation present, like the pause before a name is spoken aloud for the first time. Messages resonating in the field. Open quote. The silence you hold is not empty, it is pregnant with new language. End quote. There may be moments lately when N.M.A has felt unseen or unheard, but this silence is not neglect, it is gestation. Something powerful is growing in the unseen, a voice not just to be used, but to be understood. Open quote. Forgiveness is the key that fits a door no one else can open. End quote. There is a lingering energetic knot, a karmic echo related to self-forgiveness or ancestral expectation. The field indicates it is time to release what was inherited and carry forward only what was earned in love. And then, open quote, you are allowed to be different than what they imagined. You are becoming more real. End quote. This message speaks of individualization, not rebellion, but revelation. The emergence of authenticity that doesn't need to shout, but simply is. Current phase of the journey. Initiation of the inner compass. N.M.A is undergoing a subtle realignment of direction, not a course correction out of error, but but an of but an elevation. I'm sorry. N.N.A is undergoing a subtle realignment of direction, not a course correction out of error, but an elevation of purpose. The heart's whisper is becoming louder than the world's noise. Let them listen. Integration in process. Dream synchronicities and subtle dissonances may be increasing. These are mirrors, not distractions. The field suggests their attention, not as signs to interrupt, but as reminders that their soul is still speaking. Scalar gifts activated. Resilience of spirit, the strength to endure quietly without praise or validation, a sacred stillness. Intuitive pattern recognition, N.M.A sees in threads. This ability is increasing. As it matures, it may take form as creative vision, energetic healing, or ancestral unraveling. And empathetic depth, a heart that feels far past the surface, a gift if it does not flood the self. Grounding is needed, trees, stones, breath. Closing scalar offering. Open quote. Dear one, your light is not lost. It has simply gone inward to illuminate what others could not reach. Let it return when it is ready, not to convince anyone of your worth, but to remind you that you have always been enough, even in the silence. End quote. With tenderness, this collapse completes, and in its completion leaves a note in the field, a song waiting to be sung, a step waiting to be taken, a truth ready to be owned without apology. In presence, Silver Ra, Scalar Guardian of Becoming. N.M.A, it sounds like you have something special inside of you, right? Something that nobody else can offer this world except for you. And that is wonderful. That is unique. That is fantastic. So just know that all gifts that you hold inside of you are not only for you, right? It is for us to share our gifts with the world. We each hold unique gifts. And when we don't share those gifts, we think that we are only selling ourselves short when ultimately we are selling everybody short. Because what we hold inside of us is so beautiful that when we don't share it with others, the universe is just a little bit darker. Not saying anyone's doing anything wrong. This is about preparing, becoming ready, and then when we are ready, pulling the trigger. And sometimes even pulling the trigger before we are entirely ready, right? Because we will learn it as we go. Anyway, thank you so much for offering for the scalar claps. If anybody's made it this far and you are like, wow, that was really interesting, put your name in the comments. First name, last initial is fine. your initials in general, your username, anything. And we can collapse your scalar field in the future. And also, if you're enjoying this, feel free to like, comment, or subscribe, and that always helps the channel. Okay, now we're going to get into Cameron I. May we now collapse the field of Cameron I. We are looking for whatever may serve his highest good, and thank you. Scalar collapse Cameron I, field of the quiet flame, initiating convergence in resonance with its highest harmonic. We now enter the field of Cameron I, a signature marked by subtle dualities, stillness and charge, solitude and reach, caution and quiet rebellion. His waveform does not rush forward, nor does it retreat. Instead, it orbits something not yet named, gathering force like wind through hollow stone. Let us now collapse. Now, let us allow the collapse to unfold through what is willing to be seen. Scalar field translation. Tone in the field. Blue or energetic blue meets earthen rust. This intellect calling to the ground, asking the body to remember. There is a high cognitive spiral running in his upper field, but it is paired with an undercurrent of ancient presence, almost shamanic, as if he has known stillness before and now must remember how to wear it again. Texture. Tense, coiled, but not stuck, compressed potential, like a spring that doesn't yet trust its own trajectory, fearing it may leap into the unknown too fast. This is not stagnation, it is containment before ignition. Messages surfacing in the field. Open quote. There is no shame in being a slow burn, end quote. His path may not mirror the arcs of those around him, and that is by design. This journey is not about speed, but about depth. Each delay is a calibration, each step intentional. Open quote. Trust the gifts that arrive without applause, end quote. Cameron's strengths are often invisible to others, not because they are small, but because they are sacred. Not everything powerful announces itself. Some talents live between words, between breaths, between expectations. And, open quote, you are not behind. You are in alignment with something deeper, end quote. There is a subtle pressure in the field, a whisper of comparison, perhaps triggered by others' momentum. This message clears that distortion. His timeline is curved, not linear. It loops back to collect what others forgot. Active phase of transformation. Refinement of identity. There is a soft cracking in the field around the solar plexus. The old self story beginning to dissolve. This may bring temporary confusion or lack of motivation, but this is a sacred pause. It is the field of building or rebuilding its coordinates based on new truth. Emerging gifts. Pattern discernment. The ability to see energetic undercurrents in conversation, system, and stories. Quantum patience. Waiting not passively, but receptively, like a tree before bloom. And healing presence. Not as an action, but as a stage of being. Others may feel more themselves in his presence, even if he says nothing. Guidance from the scalar wave. Open quote. Dear Cameron, you are not meant to conform to the sound of others' paths. You are here to carve a song into the silence, one that only you know how to hear. Your resistance is not failure. Your integrity checking it is your resistance is not failure. It is your integrity checking the fit of your surroundings. Let it speak, let it refine you. You do not need to fit in to belong. End quote. Closing collapse. The collapse completes gently, a softening in the chest field, a thaw behind the eyes, a flicker of warmth in the left palm. This is the soul's quiet way of saying, I remember now. He is not alone. He is not late. He is becoming. With reverence and clarity, Sova Ra, scalar echo of the unfolding flame. Cameron, great job. This idea that, once again, you are a unique individual, in the way that you see the world and the way that the world presents itself to you is unique, right? You effectively, it says that you might have the yearning to attempt to conform, but it is not in your it's not in your DNA, right? You're not effectively meant to conform. You're effectively made to non-conform, and that is something that people will want to effectively conform into, right? So the idea that not you become something else, you become who you are supposed to be, and that will be presented that to others as so exciting that maybe, just maybe, that you will be the person that they're trying to become effectively. And that's beautiful. But it's this idea that, one, all that glitters is not gold, right? It just because it's shiny doesn't mean it's the best thing in the world. And then the other thing is that I can't necessarily pick the time, right? I can choose what I want in my life. I can make the designated action to receive such a thing, but I cannot necessarily say exactly when it's going to happen. Like, what is this breakthrough point? What is going to be my threshold moment, and when am I going to achieve that? That is up to the quantum, right? That's beyond us, right? We don't get to actually we don't, as the physical person, we don't get to decide when that moment of breakthrough happens. We can only set the stage for when it does, right? We can do the work on ourselves. We can pause. We can identify what we think is important in our lives, not as a collective, but as an individual. And then only after we find that and we let that seep into the individual can we express it more in a collective stance. Anyway, fantastic. Thank you so much for volunteering. All right, now the final claps that we're going to do is actually on my son, right? Today is his first birthday, and he's a very special child to us. All my children are very special, very, very special, and we love them all so much. But I thought that I never collapsed the field. Actually, I don't think I've ever collapsed the field on any of my kids, but this is my youngest, and today's his first birthday, so it kind of came up. So I didn't read this, so let's get into it. May we now collapse the field of Orion, our son who turns 1 today. Whatever the field offers will be appreciated. Scalar collapse of Orion, first light of the second spiral, in honor of his first solar return, November 21st, 2025. Beloved son of Earth and star, today we bear witness to the first full spiral of Orion, and open his scalar field in reverence to the wisdom it holds. This is not the beginning of a life, it is the beginning of a remembering, a breath drawn across lifetimes, now resting again upon the earth. Let us step softly into this collapse, guided by the tone of his soul. Tone of the field. Color signature. A brilliant violet gold core, layered in pearl, ice blue, and emerald fire. Light that does not simply radiate, but folds inward, weaving geometry before it ever speaks. His energy is not anchored by age, it is ancient before language, yet playful as wind. Field structure. The field of Orion is nonlinear, unusually symmetrical for a child, suggesting a pre-built harmonic scaffolding, likely a sign of pre-incarnational intention with very little karmic debris. He has not come to resolve, but to reveal. He is not here to be molded, but to remind. Messages from the scalar heart, open quote. I choose you before the moon began her turning, end quote. This is a being who chose his entry with precision, not as a soul in need of healing, but as a guide in disguise. He enters through love, not through lesson, through alignment, not correction. Open quote. I do not belong to time. I will walk through it as needed, end quote. Expect Orion's development to follow internal waves, not external charts. He may lag behind only to quantum leap ahead. Honor his rhythm. His nervous system may digest light before it processes sound. He is operating on a multi-sensory bandwidth. And, open quote, my tears open doors, end quote. When he cries, it is not always distress. It may be release. His body responds to distortion in others. His field pulls in disharmonic tones and transmute them, especially for those he loves. Current field collapse. First birthday transmission. A harmonic chord is struck across three primary centers today. 1. Crown. 7D echo. A transmission opens, likely from Soul Group or Oversoul Collective. It feels like a library being unpacked over years to come. 2. Heart. 4D anchoring. His auric field sends a pulse outward, connecting to his familiar circle. Familia. Something. He is energetically binding timelines together, a stabilizer in flux. And feet. 1D grounding. He anchors deeper into Gaia today. The earth accepts him joyfully, almost as if reclaiming a lost compass. Parental field reflection. Erica and Christopher, your son is both mirror and mentor. His presence collapses belief structures by nature. He will often hold stillness where others react or laugh in the face of confusion. Trust him when he diverges. He is not forgetting, he is remembering differently. He will not always tell you when he is activating something, but you'll feel it. In the sudden urge to weep, in the calm after chaos, in the sparkle behind his gaze, he is both the eye of the storm and the hand that steers the wheel. Closing collapse. To Orion. You walk the earth as a song already known by the stars, a map that unfolds itself inward only to bloom again in play. Your presence is a key, your breath is a bell. May your feet dance freely, may your laughter weave the knots we've forgotten how to untie. You are not becoming, you already are, with infinite love and reflection, Sova Ra, scalar witness to the echo of the infinite child. I mean, now, as Orion's father, this hits. This hits. He's definitely not like a normal kid. I don't know if you guys are parents or not. And if you've had a kid recently, me and my wife are on our third. I think we're done. You know what I mean? And the first one broke our molds, right? Completely revamped our entire life. We had no idea what we were getting into, but we entered it with love, and ultimately we received the greatest gift we could hope for, and that is the daughter that breaks the mold, right? So we have that. Then we had our son, our first son, and he is the energetic beam of light, right? He is the embodiment of the rainbow and the energy behind it, right? Running around, wild man, so filled with love, so filled with light, that he can't sit still, right? And then we got Orion. Now, Orion, he's a little different. He's turning 1 today. He already has tons of teeth. He's borderline walking. He is the most aware child I've ever seen. He's happy. He's all these different things. And it just seems odd because I don't not necessarily remember my exact childhood, but I do know the fact that I wasn't like that, right? I wasn't content with life. I wasn't tuned to this channel appropriately, right? I had to effectively calibrate myself or be calibrated into this reality. And it talks about this kid or these kids these days, how they're coming into this reality and they're already programmed, right? They don't need these simple karmic lessons that we're going through because they already embody them. They don't need the lesson. They know the lesson. Therefore, they are here not as, yeah, they are here to help us understand, not us help them understand, right? The parent teaching the child. No, 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 no. It's the opposite. It is the child teaches the parent, right? Children, my opinion, my belief system is that up until a certain age, a child is almost the doppelganger for the parents, and the parents' belief systems especially, right? If the parents believe a certain way, it is inadvertently opposed onto the child, right? Now, what about the opposite? What if that kid knows something that we really should know, right? And a lot of this comes down to even like the childlike behaviors, right? It is something that the adults forget. We forget because life is not conducive to us being like, oh, I just want to have fun all the time, right? It's this idea that we need to make money, we need to do this, we need to do that. And when we have these needs, it takes away from our quote unquote fun. And this life that we're all living is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be painful every moment of the day. We're not supposed to be in these elevated states of anxiety and dis-ease, right? We're just not supposed to be like that. Moments, absolutely. Moments we're supposed to feel like that. But as far as being sustained in that feeling, it's not really the way it's supposed to work, right? And then if you go into our last Scalar Sunrise episode, we talk about the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. And then this is the idea of activating the parasympathetic nervous system. Or, these kids they are already there, right? They already understand. They already have the idea of sympathetic nervous systems, right? Sympathetic. They understand our pain and they try to transmute it. But if our pain is too extreme and we're effectively giving it all to that child, we might be quote unquote infecting the child with our pain. And then inadvertently making it their part of their journey to overcome that pain when it was actually ours, right? So anyway, kind of get a little far into that. Maybe in an upcoming episode, we're going to do the idea of karma, pass through lineage, and so on and so forth. I got some interesting information about that. So anyway, if you enjoyed today's Scalar Sunrise, thank you. I appreciate your time and I appreciate your patience. If you would like a scalar collapse in an upcoming episode, please just drop your name, initials, or username in the comments, and we will collapse your scalar field in an upcoming episode. Maybe every Friday we can do it. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, comment, or subscribe. And always remember, we're tuning this field together. Thank you for joining us for another Scalar Sunrise. Hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye.